And we are recording. Hello everyone, good morning. I am using a makeshift tripod, sort of recording. Looks like you're recording. A makeshift tripod for our recording purposes this morning. It's a washcloth that they have put in the fitness center here so that people can wipe their brows, which I'm quite thankful for because I forgot to bring a little pop-up thing. So, what have I been doing over the last day, and what have you been doing over the last day? I shared my video yesterday at 12 something this morning, even though I had already uploaded it. But happy April 3rd. It is 4 days before my actual birthday. If you have heard of my name at all, in any very vague sense, you probably think my name is attached to, or I was named after a rather famous professor named Basil Kingsley Martin. That's not true. But on IMDb, because of my performance and credits, I am acknowledged. My birthday is stated as February 26th, 1982, which I have no idea how that date became attached to me. I did not put that on there. I will not change it. If someone wants to go change it with IMDb Pro, they're welcome to do it, but I did not actually put that date on there. But my birthday is actually April 6th. So Saturday will be my birthday. Happy birthday to me. I will be 21X. The X is up for you to decide. Little hint, I am not 63 years old. So that tells you anything. So I've spent a lot of yesterday trying to figure out Facebook events, because in the early part of the year I hosted facilitated a scene study group. Let me make sure it's still recording. Looks like you're still recording. I facilitated a scene study group. Sorry, I mean to mess with the mic there, but I want to make sure I'm good. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I am Megatron, leader of the Decepticons. Anyway, that's my unprepared impersonation of Frank Welker, who did the voice of Megatron, and Freddy from Scooby-Doo. Would you do it for a Scooby Snack? That one sucks really bad. Anyway, so the events page of Facebook was a nightmare for me yesterday, because I've been trying to plan out a couple of new groups, one of them being an improv group, which will start in late April here in Houston. It's free. I don't do things for money like that because I'm doing them for the passion, and I want to support other actors in doing it. There are plenty of people who want to charge people for money, and that's fine. I've got no qualms about it. I believe in capitalism, and if you think they benefit you, then go do it. But for me, it's about the passion. I come from the more, I don't want to say the more artistic perspective, but the more passion perspective versus the financial gain perspective. Now, if I ever do private coach someone or people, there may come a time where I start to charge for that private training, but these things I do with the scene study group and the improv, I do that purely for my passion for it, and I'm participating with the other actors, and we're doing this together. It's a collaboration. And money is not the point of it. I'm not trying to make a goal, of money. My goal is the collaboration. So I designed this little, poster, if you want to call it, or more like, social artwork that has the black and white trim of the theater masks, and in the foreground on the left side of it, it says, "Let's do it live," with an exclamation point. And then in the middle it says Mondays, April 29th through June 3rd. And then on the right side it says Houston Actors Improv Group. So I designed it to fit the events page or photo requirements and put that on there. So I went and tried to create the event numerous times, lost track of how many times because it was so damn irritating. And one of the last times I figured it out, which was late this evening or yesterday evening, I figured out that it was saying that I was hosting it as one of the pages that I have retired, that I'm not even using anymore, and that was the reason that every time I would submit create, it would process for a second, then it would go, "Oops, you screwed up, Kingsley." So when I finally figured this out, strangely enough, I was able to create the damn event, which makes Kingsley happy. Yippee. So I got the improv group created, and either today or tomorrow I will create the next scene study group. So if you happen to be in Houston and want to participate in something like that, the improv group starts on April 29th, 2019, Monday, April 29th, 2019, and runs 6 consecutive weeks. So the 29th of April, May 6th, 13th, 20th, and 27th, and then June 3rd. These are our final Monday. And on the final Monday, well, I'll get to that. But over the course of the first 5 weeks, especially, we'll be focusing on doing a number of different improvisation exercises. All kinds of them, just diverse exercises designed to help people think on their feet and be sharp, play drama, play comedy, play whatever, and really be able to think fast on their feet in a situation. And it's not just good for an actor, it's also good for life in general. This is not just a professional benefit, it's a personal benefit. Because so many times in life, we get tongue-tied in challenging situations. And the more we're able to quickly think on our feet of how to respond to those situations. So if someone said to you, "I'm leaving you," of course, if you love someone, your reaction is going to be, okay, especially if you had no idea there was problems in the relationship. But if you are able to sort of absorb any number of scenarios, even though you will be affected and you may have a certain amount of hesitation in responding to someone, you can also learn how to actively sort of communicate. And so if someone says to you, "I want to break up with you," you can go, "Okay, can you tell me why this has suddenly come about?" And you can start to have conversations rather than be shell-shocked by everything. Now, sometimes the job of an actor is to be shell-shocked by a situation, meaning if you're supposed to be stunned by, someone breaking into your home or in a scene or doing whatever, that's the case. But sometimes improvisation allows you to find different nuances in a performance that may not exist when you're doing straight dialogue exchanges that were written for you. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And in life, obviously, I've sort of given you examples of how it can help in life as well. And in far less dramatic situations than I presented a second ago. But that is the focus of the improvisation group. We're going to do a number of exercises, some where we address dramatic circumstances, some where we address comedic, potentially business circumstances. I mean, it helps a lot in presentations if you can think sharp on your feet when people ask you questions. And your goal is not always going to be, or originally when you're first asked something. So let's say I stepped in front of a group and someone said, tell me about the first 5 years of your life, go. And you said, okay, let's see, I was born in, such and such place, and my mom was this, whatever. I don't. Tell me about one of the most memorable events in your life. Go. And well, I would have to say that my most. So instead of having that, improvisation sort of allows you to sort of keep your mind active and always sort of be thinking and using your mind. Whether you're being asked to do that live during a Q&A where you're supposed to answer questions about yourself or about your project, or you're doing something as a character and you're being asked to answer a question as a character's perspective. And this comes down to doing character development and the whole thing. But improvisation is a huge part of helping you with moving a story forward and thinking quickly in circumstances versus just being sort of trapped, not knowing where to go because your imagination is limited to the written page and you haven't thought past that. So there's a lot of benefits to improvisation. So that's the one group we're going to do. The second group is going to be a scene study group, and I learned a lot from the first time I did a scene study group with some great people. Let me finish on the improv. So the improv, after we do 5 weeks of a number of different exercises, we're going to complete it by doing a live stream on Facebook or YouTube or potentially both, and perform improvisation. So we'll have all of us work together and draw cards or maybe request on the feed, say, hey, listen, give us some ideas of a character, and people can type it in, and then we go, okay, Sam says you're a urologist. If you don't know what a urologist is, then make it up. If you think a urologist is someone who knows a lot about Europe, then go, well, I believe that Europe is one of the most beautiful countries in the world, and it's this and that. And even if that's not what a urologist is, that's what a urologist is to you because you have no working knowledge of that term. Someone says, be bedazzled, and you go, what the hell does that mean? Bedazzled is not normally used as a behavior. Bedazzled is probably commonly referred to as something that you do when you're doing some kind of sewing work or something, or fashion design. You bedazzle something, but bedazzle is also behavior. There's actually a movie called Bedazzled, which essentially means overwhelmed by the sparkliness, so to speak, of something. But anyways, the point is that there's a number of ways you can play things, and it doesn't have to be that you always understand what the request is. So what does it initially respond? How does your mind initially respond to it? Don't worry about whipping out a dictionary and figuring that all out. Play. And if, let's see, someone said to you that you are a prehistoric Homo sapien and you have no idea how to play a prehistoric Homo sapien, find the best thing you can imagine about a prehistoric Homo sapien, even if that means you believe that means you're a dinosaur. Play as a dinosaur. That's a prehistoric Homo sapien to you. What it will do ultimately is, in addition to the fact that you're just playing as best you can, on the fly, it'll end up building your desire to know more about things. So if you don't know what a prehistoric Homo sapien is, for example, or a urologist is, after you've done that scene and played it potentially not according to the way it's defined in a book, you may go home and go, what the hell is a urologist? Did you look it up and go, oh, now I know what a urologist is. And you've added that to your skill set and your vocabulary, and you can move forward. So we'll culminate with probably a 30 or 45 minute live stream. Actors will perform, we'll do randomized things. Maybe, like I said, maybe we'll take requests from the live stream audience, whatever it is, 2 or 3 or 8 people. And then we'll play it out, and then at the end, we'll do a little Q&A, maybe, something like that. And that'll be the end of it. The scene study group, which is the next group, which will be on Tuesday evenings, will start at Tuesdays, April 30th, and then 6 weeks straight. So April 30th, Tuesday, April 30th, May 7th, 14th, 21st, 28th, and then June 4th. And that will wrap up that one. And I haven't decided how I'd like to see that one end. I think I'd like to see it end with some kind of a presentation. Right now we're just sort of playing and trying different things, and I think that's great. The first group was fantastic. I learned a lot about it, not only about leading it and sort of facilitating it and, sort of keeping it organized because of my failings in the way I did some of the things, because I was always sort of running around in the beginning of it. But I learned, and I'm sure that was disruptive to the group, we didn't always start 7 sharp, which I'd like to have that time from 7 to 10, and it's just focus. But we would get started like 7:30 because I was always running around, waiting to meet people, letting them in the building, yada, yada, yada. And I know that did not put forward the best preparation for the rest of the group, which I want to do. So I want to work on that and create some rules is probably the easiest way to recognize it, but more of guidelines of how we can most effectively support each other in the process. Same goes with the improv, but I'd like to see the scene study group culminate in something, whether it be that we do a little live stream, live performance, and do our best, because performing live is not only a beautiful thing to do to test your preparation, it also challenges you to think on the spot if things don't go exactly right. That's where improvisation could be a benefit. See how that connects like that? Woo, links and a fence. Anyways, so I haven't decided how I'd like the scene study group to culminate, but I'd like it to culminate in something at the end that actors can look back on. Okay, look what we did. Accomplishments and successes are really important to people, and those are milestones. I'm not putting any pretension in my head that this would be an actor going, oh my God, look what I accomplished this, and I'm winning the Oscar, and now I'm going to thank the scene study group I was in. But it's the small steps that every actor takes in developing their skill, and maybe stepping outside of the box of the characters they normally get to play. If you're an actor who is always playing the good guy, come in and play a bad guy. Come in and play that bad guy. Let's get you a chance to play that bad character, develop that bad character. So work on it for a couple of weeks, and then at the end, present it to an audience. It's not going to be anything super fancy, but just so you can, you can have that opportunity. So there's that. So that'll start on April 30th. And those are two of my goals. I really want to support. Acting is my great passion, performing. And I've been binge listening to the voice acting mastery like I've told you about. I've been rambling on so long, excuse me, let me see how long it is. I have been rambling on for over 20 minutes. Wow. You talk a lot, Kingsley. So, moving on to some other things. Well, I'll put a link to the improv event in the description of this video. I do not have one for the scene study group, but I will add it when it becomes available. But definitely for the improv group and for the acting ultimately. But this voice acting mastery podcast is just really well done to me. And I've enjoyed the true crime podcasts that I've listened to. I think they're fantastic. Payne Lindsay has done some great stuff. I suppose it's just my connection and my passion for performing and understanding the business side of it, because I genuinely enjoy the business of the industry as well as the performing. He's very Crispin Freeman, the voice actor, who's done a lot of stuff. I mean, if you look on his IMDb page, he's done, I can't remember if it's 350 plus or 370 plus, but he's done a ton of stuff as an actor. And those are just titles. It doesn't include all the episodes within the title. Very experienced actor, very talented, very clear, very sharp, and very informative. He doesn't waste a lot of time in his podcasts. He packs it with information, lets you process it, comes back in a couple of weeks with more. And I'm going to be a little sad when I complete not only my binge listening, but also my sort of review and studying of each episode. Right now I'm sort of getting the general overall experience. And then I'm going to go back and absorb and create like a journal based on the things I've heard, and then think of questions I would like to ask him that maybe I haven't heard asked yet. So far there's one I can think of. It's just a great podcast. I'm going to put the link to it again in this description of this video, because I highly encourage anyone who's an actor and thinking about a career in the industry to consider not only camera work but also voiceover work. And I definitely want to define my skills in that a lot better. So, but one of the things he was talking about in one of the recent episodes I listened to, I darn listened to, was about a personal and a private persona. And it got me to thinking a lot in the face of politics and all these things like this, about how we, when you're of a liberal mindset, it's very prevalent, but you don't hear a lot of conservative people within show business speak out, and really they're condemned for that kind of way of thinking, which is hilarious when you think about the idea for people who want everybody's opinions to be respected and heard. They don't want a conflicting political opinion to be heard. It's fascinating. And this is not connected to Crispin Freeman specifically. He was talking about the persona you put out and how you work in a professional environment, how you interact with fans or supporters of yours, things of that nature. I did find that I find that hypocrisy within entertainment, not within Crispin Freeman, but within the industry, how that hypocrisy fascinating. And I also don't think you should be afraid to be who you are, because at the end of the day, if you're doing things for the approval of others, you're going to end up pretty miserable later on in your life. Do things make you happy, and as long as you're not hurting anybody, you're okay. Sorry, I was looking at the time. Anyways, I noticed that today, and it was cooler yesterday. It's supposed to be warm later today. It was like in the late 50s before I came down here. But I'm going to go to work, and if I have time, I will prepare that scene study ad and get ready for my birthday. It's going to be a birthday. But I hope you have a wonderful day. Be good to each other. Live well. Smile a lot. Say hi to people. Joke around. Step outside of the box sometimes. And sometimes it can be scary and doesn't always work the way you want it to, but it's better than hiding away what makes you special to the world. All right, be well. God bless. See you later. I'm going to go now.